Well, Christine, here we are again for another conversation. And so, welcome to
Thank
everyone
you.
who is tuning in. And please remember, send us your questions. You can go to my website. I added an Ask Me Anything button. And if you have questions that come up, send that in and I'll bring them here and we'll
Oh,
talk
I like
about
that.
them for sure. So, yeah, but good to see you.
I like that. Good to see you too.
How's the last month been? I know someone, Ann Cinco, reminds she, in one of my trainings, she said, don't ask the client, how's the week been? And so I think about that every time
Oh,
because
really?
then you're in for, and I do it often with clients. And then I'm like, I said it, but it's been okay. But how are you?
Well, I'll give you an insider tip from the hypnotherapy field is we frame questions to have people start doing the U-turn. So that's really helpful. So instead of saying, how's your week been? I say, what shifts have you noticed over the past week?
Like,
So that automatically kind of starts people doing the U-turn inside. Oh, what shifts have I noticed just in my body
yeah,
or just in my, what I'm noticing parts come up, or because you have that. So that's part of like NLP, that neuro-linguistic programming. It's just in the slight variation of the way a
so
question is
what has
framed.
shifted
What
this
have you
week?
noticed that's
Okay.
shifted this past week? Which says right there, something has shifted.
Yeah,
So what have you noticed?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what has shifted this week?
Yeah.
What have you
What
noticed?
have you
Yeah.
noticed that's shifted this past week?
Yeah.
Or what have
Love
you
it.
noticed that's shifted since our last session? Because some of my clients, when they've been seeing me for a little while and they have a good kind of footing foundation with the daily parts check-in that I teach them to do
Mm-hmm.
that daily and connect with their parts and build trust with their parts, they'll go to every other week with me and then maybe sometimes once a month. So I'll
Yep.
say, what have you noticed that's shifted for you since our last session?
Yeah. That's how often, how do clients normally see you? Or how does, I know it varies, but you had mentioned
Well,
every week and then maybe every other week.
Well, and I've started at the end of this year, I've started an intensive, a 3-month intensive mentorship with me. And it is 24/7 contact with me by text, voice message or typing out text. And it's 3 times a week.
Okay.
So there's one program I do that's 3-hour long sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Mm-hmm.
or the step down from that is the hour long session on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and Monday and Fridays are check-ins, 15-minute check-ins where we do the parts check-in together. So
Okay.
it has that accountability piece where people are coming back to it. And these are people who may be like really struggling with something. This is probably something I could have used when I first was working with
Mm-hmm.
my practitioner in it, because it was a very complex, multi-layered, fragmented system that I
Yeah.
had. So I worked with my practitioner like 9 months, weekly sessions, nine
Mm-hmm.
months. And what I did was I took that 9 months and shrunk it down to 3 months.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's maybe even faster than 3 months because we are creating that new habit of the daily parts check-in, and we have the accountability
Yeah.
also. So I go anywhere from literally like 3 times a week to 3 times a year. So
Okay.
there's people who just check in with me, like they're doing really great, and then something explodes in their life. And
Yeah.
it's just what's happening is it's cracking open another layer down with another core wound. And the
Yeah.
deeper you get, I found this in my system too, the bigger the core wound gets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's,
Well, and I
I,
like
I have a whole variation.
that. Well, and I have, yeah, just it's a lifestyle and trying to incorporate that to what works best for others. It can take different
Yeah.
approaches, but I love that. Yeah, the daily check in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there
Mm-hmm.
are options to meet where you need. And so,
Yeah.
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 What if people don't know about the U turn? And you don't have to explain all this, but I'm fine with posing questions. But,
Well, that's the
uh,
first thing I teach. Slowing down is the first thing I teach. The U-turn is the second thing I teach, because that's the foundation right there. And I've noticed that anytime that I'm going fast or in a rush or in a hurry, it's a part.
yeah,
Anytime there's an agenda, it's a part, which
yeah,
is fine. That's okay. But we have to slow it down to notice the parts.
Yeah.
And the more
Yeah.
slow we get, because I incorporate like somatic embodiment and nervous system regulation with the parts work. So the slowing down is really helpful with people to then do the U-turn. Like first, just notice your body. Just notice what you notice. Sensations, feelings that start to bubble up, thoughts in the mind, songs that start playing in your mind. Just notice what you notice, but slow down to notice it. And then I use a app from Richard Rudd, who has the Gene Keys. He's doing a lot of work with Gene Keys and trying to get that word out. And the app is called Triple Flame. So I have mine set at every 3 hours during the day. It gives me a notification to pause. And you can pause for 1 minute, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I pause for 10 minutes every 3 hours. So like you said, it becomes a lifestyle where it's this checking back in, because I'm doing all kinds of tasks and admin and marketing and clients and what's been pinged in me that, oh, can you wait? Can you wait till I can circle back? Because I have this next client I have to see. Like this morning, it was boom, 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 boom. So that's the third thing I teach is so important is circling back, because so many of us were programmed to just survive to the next moment. So we slow down. Oh, part, I see you there. What are your people pleaser part? I see you there. Can you relax back so I can have this conversation and be in the present moment? Okay. And then it relaxes back. And then it's left hanging out there. It's just like hanging out there. I'm like, no, we have to commit. We have to come back and talk with it. That builds trust so that it's easier next time for it to relax back. But it's also building trust in that part for it to know self-energy so that that protector part can then lead us to the exile part that holds the core wound. Yeah. And when we heal the core wounds, that's what heals the triggers. So we're not going to get pinged. We're not going to have triggers with impulsive reactive behavior from protector parts if there's no core wound. So it's like this full circle. And then there's layers of core wounds. The work is never done. Like I tell people, if you're done, you're dead. You're going to die.
Right.
Because there's no reason for you to be here, which is great. That's okay. Great.
But there's always, and we're now, I had someone last week ask me, do we ever arrive? And I don't know exactly what, well, I guess death. We arrive somewhere. We'll see where it goes. But no, we're human. And we're never, it's a process. We're growing. But I love that. Yeah, the pausing. And then that turning in, where I call it awareness, sometime pausing, awareness, and then that circling back for sure.
Well, so I get a little bit feisty. We were talking about Mike Elkin. He's a little feisty, and I just adore him for it, because I have that energy where I just have to call stuff out because I did it and it kept me stuck. So I have to say, okay, look, I did this and it kept me stuck. Like just mindfulness, just awareness is like, oh, okay, I'm aware that there's a protector part coming up. Okay, now I'm going to choose, like they say, just choose different in the moment and go forward with that new choice. And that does create new experiences, which creates new neural wiring. Yes, but the core wound is still sitting back there. The protector part's still sitting back there. So mindfulness is not enough. Meditation is not enough. We have to connect with the parts, with self-energy, with the parts to start doing the healing work. Otherwise, it's just like the wheels on the bus go round and round. The protector parts are still going to get triggered. They're still going to run into the driver's seat of the bus. And the person's going, I've been meditating for 10 years. Like, why is this not getting better? That's why.
Right.
So I deal in like 7 layers.
Yeah. And that U-turn is where we can connect. Yeah. Go ahead with your layer. Yeah. Go ahead with wherever you're going.
I just mean that there's a lot of layers, like, because we have the body too. So we have, the core wounds, unmet needs are beneath the core wounds. The core wounds are in the exiles that create the emotional surge that makes the protector parts come in and do their extreme jobs. It keeps us out of the present moment. So we're not mindful. The nervous system is programmed from such an early age of what danger looks like. So as soon as the nervous system sees a threat, quote, threat that looks like, quote, danger, it's going to automatically function, do its thing.
Yeah.
And they know that there's 4 responses: default mode, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, which is that appeasing, caring about other people's needs more than ours, making everybody happy so that everything will stay safe. And then there's somatic. So we have these emotional overwhelms or trauma in our early life, and we freeze, or usually we freeze or fawn as kids because we can't really fight or flee. And that lodges that emotional energy down, and it clumps, and it holds in the body. It's in the tissues. The issues are in the tissues.
Yeah. And
It's
that's
in
where a lot of
all
those
those
layers.
layers.
Yeah. Well, I know for me,
Mhm.
probably freezing and fawning are my biggest ones of those four, for sure.
And probably most of us, because as children, we couldn't really fight or flee. Now, I developed a heavy protector mechanism I believe the parts are connected with the nervous system of fight, but I couldn't fight when I was young. But I saw my dad fight
Mm-hmm.
physical abuse and violence, and he had the power, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that got clocked inside of
Mm-hmm.
my child brain, that when I got big enough and old enough to fight, I started fighting.
Yeah.
Physical fighting, looking for fights, getting into fights,
Yeah.
not emotionally mature for a
Yeah.
30-year-old to be getting into physical fights. Just not emotionally mature.
Yeah.
But as far as my nervous system knew, that's what you did. You didn't allow somebody to have control over you or abuse you, so you would fight physically. And my parts liked it because that's when they felt power. But
Yeah.
it was an illusion of power that's not real.
Well, and that's the way with me with fleeing is I found, so as I've said before, I grew up in South Carolina, was first in my family to move away and move to other coast, San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco. Was
Mm-hmm.
there about 20 years, met my
That's like the
wife.
opposite of South Carolina.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But fleeing, but there are parts of me that still, I mean, my wife loves me, I have a beautiful family, kids, but there are parts of me that still want to flee because it gets to, like, I still don't trust those parts, don't trust
Mm-hmm.
that it's safe now. And there are parts of me, and so I mean, I'm Enneagram 9, so of course I'm not going to fight,
Yeah,
but
that's the fawn. That's
yes,
the
but
fawning one.
yes, but the fawning or the flee, like just that flight
Mm-hmm.
and fawn. I guess
Mm-hmm.
the fawning and fleeing, I know they're different ones, but I can see both of those
But they can
in it.
be in cahoots, like I say, in like there's
Yeah.
parts in cahoots. So there can be, like your that's a firefighter. That's a
Hmm.
reactive part that comes in that wants to flee, and you can't. So then another firefighter comes in and takes you out. Like, why is the word not coming to my mind?
It's all right. Take your
Oh,
time.
I know what it was my superpower. Like, I have to go call that part in. What was my superpower? It's not coming. When you leave your body,
Yeah.
like you literally leave your body. Like,
Dissociate.
thank
Is
you.
that?
It
Yes.
starts with a D. Yeah,
Dissociative. Okay. There
dissociate.
we go. Yep.
So that's another way to flee inside of your system, because I could at a snap be gone. And I used to call it my superpower because I could do it so fast because I had done it so much as a child. But
Yeah.
then I would be having conflict or interactions as an adult and have conversations and not remember it.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
I
The
hadn't
numbing is
started
so which,
recording myself,
yeah, firefighter. Yeah, that numbing of how it just takes
mm-hmm.
us out. And I've watched a couple YouTube videos, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but I get why they make the video. Is some people, there's at least one video where there is managers, firefighters, and then dissociative or numbing parts, which I say are just
Those
firefighters,
are
but they
firefighters.
show up so much that it's just good to remember them. I don't think we don't need to make them their own category, but they show up
Mm-hmm.
often and we
Mm-hmm.
don't see them sometimes.
Yeah, it's very subtle. That's why the fawning nervous system response is so subtle that you have to build almost like your knowledge about it first, learn about it first, and then slow down enough to
Mm-hmm.
see where you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you almost have to start saying to every question that gets, like, that somebody requests you to do something like a favor or anything, no matter what, whether you want to do it or not, say, let me check and get back with you,
Yeah.
just to create that spaciousness for your nervous system to sit with it and see what parts are showing up,
Mm-hmm.
What does the nervous system automatically want to do? And then what does self-energy choose to do in that moment? And then people think, well, self-energy is supposed to keep the peace. That's the job of self-energy. No, that's not the job of self-energy. Self-energy's job is to balance the inner system. So the protector parts don't have to do extreme jobs to balance the inner system. It's not to keep the peace. No, sometimes self-energy will turn tables over.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
like Jesus in the temple.
Right.
Hey, it depends on what the situation is. And what self-energy chooses to do to balance the system today might be much different than the choice made a year from now, when there's 4 more core wounds healed and less triggers and less emotional surge in the system. It might be a different choice. You might not have to say, let me check on that and get back with you to every question.
Yeah.
I had to do it with every question. I'm like, let's just go all in, just everything. Everything has to at least a 2-hour window, because I had to expand my window of tolerance enough to get a chance to really connect with the inner system in there. So that's Peter Levine and Dan Siegel. Neuroception. Neuroception. So your body is sensing, is there danger or safety? Danger or safety? Danger or safety? Like every moment of your life. And it chooses the response faster than what the thought even shows up in your mind.
Yeah.
It happens first.
When what happens to, for me, like these younger parts, is that's where the self-sabotage can come in, because for me, the fleeing or the fawning, sometimes it worked well then, or is the only option then, but now things are different, and I'm sure like fighting in many ways can go both ways there.
Yeah. And that's probably true for all the extreme jobs that these protector parts took on. It was something that worked back then. That's why they are still doing it. If it didn't work back then, they would have adapted and found a different extreme job to do to get you to survive to the next moment. But the adaptive behavior that worked when you were 4 years old, they're like, hey, it works. So they keep doing it every moment to moment to moment to moment until you're 44. So it's maladaptive behavior when you're 44, because you're an adult in adult relationships with adult responsibilities.
Yeah, and adult agency. And many times, I mean, my parts when they know that they have choice and agency now.
Yeah.
That's very surprising.
Yeah, loss of agency is huge. Not having a choice, that learned helplessness as a child. Yeah, that's stuck with me for a long time. Yeah. I was even having a talk with my kid the other day where it was like, what's underneath that? What's underneath that? And I don't use parts language. I just say, well, what was underneath that? What was the thought before that? And it came down to helplessness. Well, I feel helpless because my dad, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, your dad's not here. This is 2025. So what thought in your mind do you need to speak to right now? What emotion do you need to speak to right now? And it was kind of like, like that, you see that light bulb moment go off. But there's times parts come and tell me things of why they do something or when they started doing something, and my jaw drops. I'm like, what? That's amazing. And you're still holding that from back then? Like, that's amazing. And it can even be some just little moment in time where there was emotional overwhelm, and that's the trick that worked. And that's the trick they continue to use.
And that's where it's so, as a practitioner, kind of that question of, I found, how old does this part think you are? Oh, they know who I am. Well, sometimes when I tell them, though, it's like, whoa, really? Like, you can never ask that question too much. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just had it a couple days ago with a client. Now, I know she's grown. And then, so there's a little bit of time. Spaciousness. I'm always creating spaciousness and safety, of course. But then go back and ask, so how old do you think she is? 4. She's 4. But they see a tall person, but they're 4. So.
Yeah, and then another question, too, is helpful for my parts, too. Well, she's 4. How old was she when she put up that guard or whatever? And sometimes, like, those, like, that's where, like, parts can be very young, even pre-verbal. And those younger exiles, I mean, those layers, like, there's so many layers.
You want to hear something cool?
Please,
You want to hear something really cool? I had a part show up in my own system when I was doing this work with my practitioner, and it showed up like in water, Like, so I almost fell into a pool when I was like 2 years old, but my dad caught me. So there's a figure it outer part that comes in, and it's like, oh, it's when you were stepping into the pool, that there was a part that got scared you were going to be underwater. So my practitioner was like, oh, it sounds like the figure it outer part. See if that part can relax back. We can just be with the part. There's water. Yeah, and there's floating. And it was like a psychedelic trip. Like what it was showing me was like it was moving its hands, and then there was like colors, and then there was like an abrupt like explosion. And so when you're in self energy and you're sitting there listening to the part, you're like, wow, like tell me more about the explosion. Loud noise. Okay. Then it came into like a muffled, you know how when you're underwater and you can hear people talking, but it's really muffled? It was giving me that sound in my ear, like in my ear, not just showing it to me. So we knew it was pre-verbal because it was using the body and sensations and body movement and colors. It didn't have words. And it turned out that when the part got, I call it show and tell, when the part was showing me and telling me the scenario, it came out that it was around, because of what it was saying was formed on its body and not formed on its body. It came out that it was around 6 months gestation period in the womb when it happened. And it was my dad attacking my mom. That was the abrupt explosion. And the part was in there going like, giving the finger. So that's I have a very near and dear love. I love him part that stays way off to the right over there. I don't know if I've mentioned him to you before, but it has to be rated R for me to say his name. But his first words are, you know what? And then there's something that comes after the you know what. So as soon as I hear, you know what, in my mind, I know it's him. Yeah. So we're so tight now that as soon as I hear in my head, you know what, I'm like, hey, hang on a second. Hold on. Let me, I gotta go to the restroom real quick. Let me go have a time out here. And I go and talk with him, and he knows he can get my attention very quick because it's very, even now, very short, narrow window of tolerance. As soon as I hear, you know what, with most of my other parts, I can stay in the situation or the conversation and speak for them. Mm-hmm. With him, not so much. I would have to really trust the person I was with. If it's a stranger or some kind of situation where I don't know the people and I'm stepping up to defend somebody, yeah, there's a very narrow window of tolerance where I know he's going to jump in the driver's seat and he's going to take over. Yeah. And he's the physical fighter.
And he doesn't want you to speak for him.
He does. Mm-hmm. He trusts me enough now. Yeah. Because we're tight. And he trusts me that I will say what needs to be said. And I had to prove that to him. And it took me years to be able to use my voice and speak my truth out loud if need be. But he knows I will do that now. But if there's too much danger there, like it's a person I don't know well or I don't trust or something, I got to get myself out of there. I got to go to the bathroom or there's whatever it is, there's another person there that he wants to defend. I need to get them and go out, because it ain't going to be pretty.
Yeah. And just that awareness, but then attunement to know him, to know how your system works, and then just that trust. Yeah. Being tight and knowing that. Yeah. Yeah. There's just so much there to know. Yeah.
He's one of the only parts of my system that didn't change their name. Like most of them show up as like the people pleaser part, and then they become the creative part or the singing part or something like that. He's one of the ones that did not change his name.
He's still got his name. Yeah.
So. He's the warrior blood. So I'm like, don't change, dude. He even looks like one of those Eastern, like the Chinese, like samurais that have the full mask of armor, like over their face. Like he still looks like that. So he didn't change how he looked either. So that tells me something. He's like ancestral line or energetic line or something, that it's a warrior part that when stuff goes down, he's got it. He's got it.
And it's okay to be, and I'm not talking about him specifically, but just anger and those we need them.
They're actually healthy emotions. Yeah. But like all emotions, they're just a messenger service. Mm-hmm. Like our body is a messenger service. The emotions are meant to come in, give us a message, and flow out. But we weren't able to do that as short people with no life experience. We had the tall people who were gonna, do God knows what to us
Yep.
if we spoke. So the emotion flows into the body, we freeze up, shove it down. We can't be mad, and then we don't know how to express our emotions safely. We don't have a emotional container. We don't have any safe container because we didn't have primary caregivers who had their own safe container for emotions. So there's no place to express them. They just get shoved down. Even anger, there is so much care and passion behind anger that it's actually a very beautiful emotion. And it's usually about boundaries.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of care there. So the anger has to come in. We say, oh, there's anger. What do you want me to know? And then speak for the anger. Set a boundary, say no. Whatever is misaligned in me, I make sure I'm aligned, or I don't do it, and then let it flow out.
Yeah. So,
all the emotions are here for a reason.
Yeah. The grief, the pain, the sadness.
Even shame, the emotion that everybody's scared of, except Brene Brown. She's not scared of it because she studied it for decades. Even shame has the beautiful function of causing us to disconnect from ourselves so that we can come back and reconnect with ourselves. That's what we're doing here. And everybody's so scared to mess up. They're scared to have emotions. Why? That's why we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay to put yourself out there and mess up. Yep. For sure.
Why don't use the F word anymore? Failure.
Yeah.
That F word isn't allowed in my vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all data. It's not failure. It's data.
Yeah, for sure. And that shame and then the vulnerability that's right there with it. We listen to our parts, we honor them, but it can be a gift. And it's so freeing to, this is who I am.
Yeah. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. Yeah. We're all ugly and we're all beautiful.
Yes, for sure.
That's why no judgment. I don't even think there is such a thing as good and bad anymore. It's just aligned or not aligned. Does it align with me and what I'm creating in my life, or does it not align? Okay. If it aligns, awesome, go for it.
Yeah, and whether it be that, well, I always think of the cartoon, the angel and the devil, but there's good in both, and they're not angels or devils. If anything, they're all angels, but it's, beautiful thing, for sure.
Yeah, there's functions for both of them.
For sure, and just being, knowing that is normal and okay hasn't what I've been taught often, for sure.
No. It's so funny because they have, in the Bible stories, like the Garden of Eden with the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, the story is that the apple came from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And it was wrong to eat of that fruit. But the knowledge of good and evil, good and bad, naming something good or bad is judgment. That's all it is judgment. And so Adam and Eve in the story took the fruit of the tree of judgment, and that's what was the quote sin. But then in the religion, everybody's sitting around pointing their finger at everybody else in judgment, saying that they're sinners. Like the finger where they're pointing is sinners, when they're literally in that moment, they're eating the fruit of the tree of judgment.
Yeah.
When they're doing that.
Yeah. It's been so freeing for me to work with folks and from evangelical Christian background, and to say, and especially in the South, you've got the lost and the saved and terminology like that. But to hear people when they do that U-turn and they learn about who's within, wow, I've got little lost ones, and I'm doing quotes here, inside of me that are just as lost per se as whoever I've been pointing out there at when we do that U-turn. And when that internal healing happens, that's where we start. And that's where, if any healing needs to be otherwise, it starts within.
That's life. That's blossoming into life, what it was really supposed to be for us, I believe. But we're meaning-making machines.
Yep.
Humans are meaning-making machines. And maybe that's where it started. Maybe that story is true, and that is where it started. They took the tree of judgment. They took from that tree. And now we're still in that tree. We need to step out of that tree and into the tree of life, which is flow, which is connection, especially divine connection.
Yeah.
With all that is with nature, with God, with source, whatever you want to call it. That connection, that inner guidance, that intuition, that knowing and knowing what not to do, but then we fawn and then we do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's like, oh, there's such good stuff. That's shame. So so then you have the inner critic part coming in, trying to shove down that shame and that exile part, that core wound. That's why when we heal the core wounds, we have a lot less reactivity inside of our system. So what you were saying originally, the process is ongoing. It's a practice. It's a lifestyle. It's that continual U-turns inside, continual me judging somebody else and knowing right away, as soon as I hear the thought in my mind, there's something inside of me that needs attention. That's reflecting back into me. That's why I see the judgment in the first place, because it's getting my attention to look inside. What's in me that needs to be acknowledged? So it's that continual practice, but there's a lot less reactivity in the system, a lot less protector parts fighting over the driver's seat of the bus of our life in the system. So it does get easier the more core wounds are healed.
Yeah, and there's more of a trust and understanding, and we keep doing the work because it's ongoing, and it's okay to pause and just be and not have to work too. Yeah,
well, integration, that's another thing we don't talk about enough, is integration. We have to have time to integrate. So sometimes it's just taking it easy and not thinking about anything, not doing any U-turns.
Yeah, right.
And then see what happens.
Yeah, just that pause. Yeah, I'll come back to the pause again to integrate.
The pause. Yeah. I love that app, that Triple Flame app on my phone. Every 3 hours, I pause for a few minutes. And even that, how much more settled the nervous system is, the more present moment. We're rewiring the neural wiring in the nervous system to get it more acclimated to the present moment and what's actually happening in the present moment. So yeah. There's one piece of advice. It's slow down. Get stuff off your plate, get responsibilities off your plate, stop the scrolling on social media, like just become more intentional of how you want to spend your time.
Yeah, and just slow. And I'm sure, and I told you before we started recording, I'll probably put this out the first of the year. And so people are probably, what do you think about New Year's resolutions? Does that trigger you?
No, it's not triggering. But if people want to do it, that's great. But I, years ago, shifted into my word of the year. What's my word of the year? And it usually comes to me. It's not something I have to think about and journal about and make columns on a paper and try to see where I am and where I want to be. It's very intuitive. It comes to me. So my word for 2025 was freedom. It came to me. There were things that I knew that I wanted inside, and it showed up, and I've had it all year. More freedom inside and, in my inner system and outside in the external reality, more this year than ever before. So I just let a word of the year come to me.
Yeah.
And then I make it my intention for the whole year. So everything is intention and attention. Yeah, so I don't do resolutions. Do you?
I don't either. I don't. And I like intentions.
Yeah, intentions.
But I've not been a fan of resolution. Well, I've never kept resolutions.
Yeah.
And there had been a time where, and especially in the productivity world, like, what are your goals? But I love that. Yeah, the intention, and what is letting that word of the year come in.
Yeah. And I do goals, but I only do 90-day sprints of the goals. So whatever's not done in the 90 days, then I relax, kind of evaluate, what do I still really want and what doesn't even align with me even after 90 days, and then reevaluate. Yeah. So, but that's how my system is. That's how my makeup is in my everything. It's in my birth chart. It's, it's in my energy. I'm a good idea person and a starter, but I'm not a good, like, long haul maintenance type. I have to get it done in 90 days. And if I don't, it won't get done. So like right now, I've been working on the YouTube channel and writing on Substack and writing blogs on my website. That's my main focus is. But at the end of December, it'll be the end of the 90 days for the quarter. But I've been working 14, 16-hour days for 90 days straight. But then I'll take a month and just do client sessions only for a whole month.
Yeah,
and
sure.
then reevaluate.
Yep. When I like that too of, what is the one or two things for the quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can get so overwhelmed, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I have a part that likes to pile on things that it thinks I can do something that takes 8 hours. It thinks I can do it in like an hour.
Yep.
And then I do it and I'm like, no, this is actually taking 8 hours. So we need to reevaluate this,
Yeah, and I have a part that piles on and then it's on to the next thing. Maybe that's how the pile on
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, for sure. And they're all great. They're all doing the best they can, but it's
What's
good
the
to
wound
know that.
underneath?
Right.
That's my question all the time. What's the wound underneath?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to keep me so busy that I don't have time to slow down and look inside? Or I
I'm
don't
not
have
good
time to
enough.
connect
I'm
with others.
worthless. Yep.
It's the core wounds right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually helplessness, worthlessness, and loss of agency, loss of choice.
Yeah.
Usually that's what most of my clients have. But I do find that clients kind of attract that have similar wounds as I did or still working on. So I'm sure there's other wounds out there, but those are the ones that show up a
Well, and
lot.
there's that productivity piece, like those of us that are, I still like the productivity shows and systems and processes, but I'm as free as I love the word of freedom. Maybe I'll take that for
Freedom.
next year.
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful. I bit off a lot. I had a lot shift in 25 with that word freedom.
Mm-hmm.
A lot shift. That's when I sold my house in South Carolina. I moved to Pennsylvania. I bought another house. I changed spending. I changed type of house, size of house, went to more minimalist kind of things. So it's amazing what came with that word and surrender, full surrender.
And all of that, well, I know it's a process, but 2025 was a big
2025,
part of that, right? Yeah.
That was the word. So maybe 26, I'll say the word is naps.
That's right. I love it. That's so, yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, that freedom. Yeah, there's just, I love that.
And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with freedom. There's a lot of saying no that comes with freedom because you can't say yes to everything and have freedom. You can't do things that other people want you to do because of their own needs and have freedom. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be a fun thing, but it was a year-long lesson in intention, attention, and alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
that. It was good.
And the intention, attention, and
alignment. Yeah.
And the surrender of how that goes kind of.
Surrender was that was the big lesson for me in 2025. Yeah. It was hard too.
Yeah.
But once I crossed that threshold, once I was reconnecting with the parts that were scared of surrender, then it was easier to cross over the threshold. And then when you cross over that threshold and you're in surrender, complete detachment from outcome, and you see how easy life is, it's like, oh, why was I fighting this the whole time? Why did I have fear there the whole time? The core wounds. The core wounds have fear. Yeah. That's why they're wounds.
Yeah. What did you learn from surrender? That
life is very easy and everything is provided that we need. And it's a direct, it created a wider opening of my channel to connect with divine or higher self or all that is, or God or source, whatever you want to call it, that connection with all that is, that oneness. When I had that connection and I ask a question and it can show up easily, like what I'm asking for just shows up in 12 hours, easy. Or like a question is answered, easy. And I'm asking for big things. So the big things that I'm asking for take a little bit of time, but then I got the message, it's already done. It's already done. Basically, there's steps that you have to step through, but it's already done. And I know, like there's this knowingness that it's already done because I'm tapped in now, because there's no fear blocking it. Fear is literally the only thing that we have to fear.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think often people like you go into that and the urge is to resist those parts that are saying, heck no, don't sell your house, don't move to Pennsylvania, but they matter. But when you turn toward them, how has that been for, or what would you say to
You want to
that?
hear?
Yeah.
You want to hear a good
Yeah.
story? You want to hear a funny
Yes,
story?
please.
Thanksgiving a year ago. So we just went past Thanksgiving in 2025. Thanksgiving 2024,
Mm-hmm.
I was flat on my back in bed, sick for like a week straight, and it was all parts work. While I was laying there in bed, I couldn't work. I was too sick to see clients. I was sick, and it was all parts work to the point that once those protector parts were relaxed back and I am fully in self energy and I do the path exercise and I go out of the woods and I cross over the meadow and I go over like up the slope of the hill onto the top plateau and I say, this is what I want to get me there. I came out of being sick and I get the inner guidance, the message, put your house on Zillow for sell by owner for this price. That specific. It was that specific. So I'm like, okay. So I did it. A real estate agent reached out to me, saw my house, reached out to me, and he said, I can get you about 70% more than what you're asking. So he came to the house. I met with him. I'm like, take a look at everything and give it to me real, you know? And he got me 70% more than what I was asking. So I had to come out of being sick, doing parts work for like 5-6 days straight, to the point that they were trusting so I could have that clear channel in self energy to connect with the divine, to then hear instructions from the divine and do them. I sold my house and turned around and bought a house with cash. I made enough from the sale of my house that I bought a house for cash.
Yeah.
So I have no mortgage.
And
Low,
there's something,
I paid off all my debt except my school loans.
right. Well, yes.
And
But
they're
just
like 60 grand for the master's degree.
right. It's crazy. It's crazy. But just putting that number out there, and that wasn't the number wasn't that was just I
It
think
was to
that
get
speaks
his attention.
to moving forward imperfectly or just trusting like our parts. Like what? That's not enough for what that wasn't the intention of putting it out. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Divine guidance knew that number would catch his attention
Mm-hmm.
and he would show up. And
Yeah.
they knew specifically who. That was, I'm telling you, that was all orchestrated before I ever put the ad on Zillow.
Yeah.
So it's everything works out. And I could move from here. I don't care. I mean, I'm not attached, but
Yeah.
I needed that breathing room this year because of then all the medical things that I went through with my kid.
Yeah. Right.
And we knew that was coming last year. We knew it was getting worse. It was coming, like we had to address it. The seizures were happening too much and they were too severe. So it wasn't something that was going to fly over. But I was alone. I wasn't with, like, I had no family for the holiday. I had no family for Christmas last year. I had no family for Christmas this year.
Yeah.
It's okay. In that that also is in my birth chart. That solitude is time where I hone in and do the inner parts work to have the more clear channel with divine to step forward in co-creating together. That's why I was talking about bringing IFS to the masses globally, where, and you were saying where there isn't, of areas where there isn't.
Yeah.
Like there's timing going on here, that this is the time to step into our mission of why we're here. So it's not like I'm so great and I just get gifts showered onto me. It's like, no, we're going to make this part of your life easier because we're going to ask you to do big things on this part of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yikes.
And to that person that's out there on their back starting this year. Yeah, it's not to bypass that the pain is there and it hurts, but there's
Go
hope.
into it.
Yeah.
Go into it. That's the gold. That's the threshold. And I was so scared to go into my pain before I started my IFS work with my practitioner. But once we went into it, it was like, I thought it was going to be so much worse than this.
Yeah.
It's that illusion of fear that the pain is going to be overwhelming and the world's going to collapse and the sky is going to fall. And it's not. It doesn't. And I had some big things in my system.
Yeah. And that's such a big fear of those protectors. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There are layers and there's a lot. and it may be a lot, but when they soften, like they're not
Mm-hmm.
alone. They can
Mm-hmm.
handle it. You and I can handle it. But often we get there, and a lot
Yeah.
of the unburdening has already happened just for those protectors softening too. And so it's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not too much.
No. And if a part thinks it's too much, I said, that's okay. That's just a signal for us to
Mhm.
slow it down even more.
Yeah.
Anytime we're scared or overwhelmed or even concerned, it's just a signal for us to slow it down even more.
Yeah.
The more spaciousness we create, the more of a bigger view, peripheral field of vision we can get. It's only when we get cramped inside of those blinders on the bridle in survival mode that we can't see peripherally. We can't see the big picture.
Yeah.
Spaciousness.
And it's all healing, and those protectors softening. There's so much healing
Yeah.
there in it.
The
Yeah,
process,
for
like you're
sure.
saying, it's the process that's healing. Because when protectors even come in, because they're scared, I'm with an exile part and they're scared that I'm going to hear what's there. I ask them if they can relax back and watch from the side. I
Yeah.
want you to watch. I want you to interject. You stay here watching over this little exile part, and you interject as soon as you want to,
Yeah.
because you're going to tell us the pace that we need to slow down, or it's okay. We're
Because
going
you know
okay.
it better than I do.
Exactly. I trust the parts. I respect the part. I honor the parts. They got you here. So that shows they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they bring us gifts and they carry self. I mean, it's all kind of
They
both
have a lot of
ends.
wisdom. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh yes. They
Yeah.
have the characteristics of self inside of them.
Yeah, for sure.
They had original roles. Coming from the background of clinical hypnotherapy, those protector parts had original roles that they sacrificed. They laid it down and took up that armor in that extreme job. I helped them go back to their original roles.
Yeah.
Could be imagination. It could be looking for opportunities. It could be connecting with other people. They all had original roles that they started with. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, and we love, and I love what Schwartz says in the book No Bad Parts, going back to that story with the fruit and the garden and
Oh,
all.
yeah.
And I know a lot of times Christians, and by the way, I'll say again, like I'm still one of them. Yeah, the whole Jesus thing, but
I follow Jesus, nobody
yeah,
else.
right.
I'm a red letter girl.
Right, yeah. But sometimes people get so up in arms with IFS saying, "Oh, we're good. We were created good," but we were. And then they found the apple in the story
Yeah,
and those
yeah.
burdens, but that
Even if you
origin,
go by the
yeah,
story of Adam and Eve, they walked with God in the garden.
yeah,
They walked connected in communication in the garden
yeah,
until they took the fruit of judgment,
yeah,
until they became meaning making machines.
yep, yeah, love it, yeah. And they were good, and they're still at our core. We're good. I don't know what the big deal is, and
All
it's
of us,
yeah, but we've
self
got
energy.
burdens, and it's not
Well,
who
look
we
at
are.
the intentions. Why would somebody try to make somebody believe that they're bad at their core no matter what? Shame.
Power.
When you have somebody feeling shame about themselves, then you have the power of the person who says, I can tell you how to not feel shame.
Yep.
I'm making you feel shame in the first place, but then I'm going to tell you how to not feel shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I
Yep.
don't want any part of that.
No.
I don't
And
care
that
what
becomes the
religion it is,
God.
or not religion it is. Exactly. So
Yeah.
the priesthood became the God.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. Well, I guess we've got some. I mean, we don't have to wrap up too quick, but we've got somewhere to go next time that we
Yeah.
probably won't go. So
But
if you want us to
we
go
never
there,
do.
remind
Isn't
us.
that funny?
Yeah, I'm saying if you want us to go there, you should remind us with a question.
Yeah,
Because
remind us, please.
we're going to be, yeah, that on to the next thing. I know you and I are very different in many ways, but that
Yeah.
kind of next
Yeah.
month, my head's going to be in a, I don't know where my head's going to be. It'll be good and right, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
I so appreciate this platform that you have,
Yeah.
because we need to get it out to more and more and more people.
Yeah. I love it.
And I just believe that this is the time.
Well, we'll keep doing it and keep meeting. And does that feel, well, what else? I
Yeah,
kind of, does that feel
absolutely.
complete for now? Or
Absolutely. Yeah, because we better not get down like the spiritual path, because I'll be here for 3 hours.
maybe we'll start the next, well, we probably won't, like I said, but I'll try to remember. And if enough people comment, then we
Yeah.
will. But we'll see where we
Yeah.
end up next time. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm feeling not in a triggered kind, in an excited
And
kind of, like
excited.
it's a
Yeah.
good, like I'm
Yeah. Me
ready to jump
too.
in. So maybe
Yeah.
that's our natural cliffhanger to
Yeah.
remind us what cliff we were at, and we'll pick it up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, even the Institute is coming out with a lot of things
Yeah, the
recently about
spirituality and all this
spirituality.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe I'll make a note, and maybe let your system know where we
Yeah.
are, and maybe
Yeah.
someone will chime in if that's where we're supposed to go next
Yeah.
time.
Questions,
For sure.
especially
Yeah.
because I love all religions, but I do not like abuse of power. That
No.
is something that gets in my craw. Abuse of position of power, but it's all good. Like all roads lead back to the same place. I really
Yeah.
believe that. And there's a book written by a yogi called The Holy Science, where
Mm.
he shows like mathematically of like all the different religions, they
Right.
all lead back to the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and that's what I want people to hear too. Like, I think, I'm not some preacher guy talking to whoever's listening, but
Yeah, no.
yeah, we've messed it. Like, yeah, there are parts of me that want to throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. And there's
Oh,
room. We have just been, yeah, that power, shame and power. I don't like that
yeah.
dynamic, but I resonate with that dynamic
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. And it's not the way it was meant to be.
I think that noticing what resonates in our body, again, our body is an antenna, it's a messenger service. What resonates with us and align with that. And what doesn't resonate, like the protector parts that want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So that's survival mechanisms. It's black and white, in or out, so there's no gray. That shows that it's a fear underlying that,
Hmm.
for protection.
For sure.
And there's only fear or love. That's
Yep.
it. And fear is just an illusion. So it's not really, it doesn't even really exist. So
Yep.
really all is love.
And love is real. Yeah. So
Hmm.
great. Well, we'll pick up next time and
Yeah, great.
go from there. But
Great. I
yeah,
look forward to it. Thank you so much.
thanks so much, Christine. Me too. All right.
All right. Thanks.